Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to my Let's Play of Ever17, the Out of Infinity. Now, yesterday I didn't get a chance to get an episode done, so since it's been a day, it might be a little bit more scatterbrained than normal. So whether or not that's more entertaining or not, it's up for someone besides me to decide, so hopefully that's the case. Now, if memory serves me right, last time the kid saw apparitions of a little pink-haired girl, Coco, from the last playthrough, which, very interestingly, you could not see. So it's definitely something to do with the kid. So I'm definitely interested in how he is playing into this whole thing. It's everybody's got a thing. Sugumi's got her immortality type thing. The kid's got his I don't know what he has. Sarah's the hacker. It seems like she's almost supernaturally talented at it. You has her whole weirdness with her parents, potential parents. So yeah, Tuxi seems like the normal guy, which is surprising. Yeah, why am I talking about this? But anyway, that's the story now. I closed my eyes, mustered all my power, and sprinted. That's right, Coco was falling off a statue, wasn't she? I threw out my free left hand to where the girl would be falling to catch her. I didn't feel anything. Or maybe I hadn't reached her in time. Scared, I opened my eyes. What? There was no one in my arms. Or even around me. Only the water sloshing about gently around me. I just had a weird thought, and I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure this isn't right. But I was just thinking, wouldn't it be crazy if actually, I just thought of something else. They're talking about there was an alternative program in Himmel that I'm guessing would use RSD. Just thinking about how Sora was saying she could make herself visible to specific people, but she's not really there. But then again, in Coco's branch, she was actually physically there. And the dog. Like, did anybody ever actually physically? Yes, but the kid did. Okay. I just think, what it'd be weird if she had accidentally got misplaced from the shutdown down below and somehow got up there, and I have no clue how that would relate to the time travel premonition type stuff. Yes, that has absolutely no bearing to it. Just me coming up with stuff. I looked above me. Of course, there was no one on the pedestal supporting the statue. Although I did make a reference about Coco and Sora being sisters one time, didn't I? Something about if that programmer was the one who worked on Sora, and he said something about take care of my daughter, which I assumed was Coco. Yeah. No. It has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with it. There's a lot of stuff going together, piecing together that shouldn't be pieced together. Without saying anything, I got up and went behind the statue. There were scratches in the statue. Fascinating. There were deep notches that looked like they had been carved there by something hard and sharp. They were the shape of people. Really simple looking, like stick people. At the end of each stick was a little round face. There were 6 in all. Looking closer, I saw that next to the people figures were 2 carvings of animals that I'd never seen. I looked up at the statue. The statue is pointing diagonal and up toward the east.
あれ？何やってるんですか、2人とも。それがね。
I ignored them and gently touched the carvings on the statue. Without thinking, I blurted out, "What's your step, okay?" That answer could have been my imagination that time. Very interesting. It's weird that each recording I do only makes me more and more confused about this game. It's good confusion, but confusion none the same. After that, I decided to go to the infirmary and sleep. It wasn't that I was feeling ill. It was simply that I was not getting enough sleep. I wanted some quality rest. I slept so deeply that I didn't even dream. When I woke, it was already around evening. There was a memo by the bed. "We will be in the conference room until dinner. If you wake up by then, please come along. I'm sorry for making you hang out with me the last couple days. Please make sure you get enough rest. You." Judging from the signature, it seemed that you had left it. Or even more confusing, if his amnesia was kicking in. But if somebody, it'd be funny if he had wrote it for himself. Because somebody had come in and woke him up and told him that he wrote him himself a note. What do you say, myself? He probably wouldn't have the foresight to do that. I got out of bed, stretched, and left the room. But if he just wrote me and he couldn't remember, then he would think that whoever did it was just being vague. I started walking in the direction opposite of the conference room. I decided to walk around the complex for fun. Because there's nothing more fun than just walking around a deserted amusement park where you could die, you know, pretty soon. I got into I. I thought it might make for a good change of pace to walk around a floor I hadn't spent much time on. That was my thinking. I got off on the flooded 3rd floor. I wondered where I should go. I looked around thinking. It was then that it happened. I saw the girl again. Oh! I saw her small figure cutting across the corridor. I was sure of it. It was that girl. Chased after her. Her skirt shook back and forth as she walked further and further away. It was almost as if she were trying to get away from me. Hey, wait a minute! She might not have heard me, and she didn't show any sign of stopping. I wondered what it was all about. This girl that kept appearing out of nowhere and then disappearing. This girl that didn't register on LeMU's bioscan. No, she had registered once. Life rating 7. But the more I thought about it, the stranger everything seemed. She only appeared in front of me and we hardly communicated. Nobody's thought about the fact that Sora's not a human being. It wouldn't show up on it anyway. Well, I couldn't worry about it. I knew it wouldn't help. It was something that I could only solve by asking her directly. She headed into the cosmic well room. I followed in soon after. The room was dimly lit. A massive well floated like a majestic phantasm in the cosmic room. The girl was in the middle of the room. She was facing away from me, sitting and hugging her knees. I finally caught up. I approached her as I caught my breath. I heard singing. It sounded like phrases from a children's song. I felt like I had heard the lyrics somewhere before. Somewhere, I was sure. In the distant, distant past. I wondered if it was my missing memory that was making me feel that way. Hey, you. Her shoulders jumped with shock and she stopped singing. Slowly she turned back to look at me. It was the girl after all. Why do you run away from me? Oh, well, I guess it doesn't matter. It really did matter to me, but since I had finally been able to confront the girl, I felt a surge of relief. Well, why don't we go where everyone else is? I held out my hand as I said this. Finally, she stood up and spoke. What? The girl just stared at my face. Let's go. I took her hand and tugged it as I began to walk. The inside of my mind was churning. It was because of what she had just said. Inside of me, it felt like another me was screaming. That was how I felt. I found another girl. I burst into the conference room as I shouted this. Of course, I was still leading the girl by the hand. Everyone turned to look at me at once.
もう一人って？
誰のこと言ってんだ？
もしかして、その女の子のことですか？
Yeah, I found her in the cosmic well room and brought her here. What was Sora just meaning by that girl? That supposed girl that he had talked about before, or that girl behind him? Well, what's the matter with everyone? Aren't you surprised?
もうしばらく休んでいた方がいいんじゃない？
Oh, great. What?
ねえねえ。
The girl was tugging at my sleeve. I turned to look at her, but the girl that I had brought... No. No. This will be incredibly embarrassing for him.
いきなりこんなとこ連れてきて、どうしたの？
Sarah? This is really confusing. So is there a thing where they can't be in the same place at the same time, or? I don't know.
ん？
You know, I had the off thought something. I don't know if I mentioned this or not. Something about I thought maybe Pee-Pee was. Well, I knew there was supposed to be another character there somewhere. I thought maybe in the off chance it was the Pee-Pee, the dog, was actually Sarah somehow. And it was some weird thing where she wasn't herself, but she was kind of interacting with things because the dog was really smart. And that hasn't been explained yet, so I'm definitely wanting that explained as well. I need to make a list of everything that's confusing about this and publish it and have it be a book or something. I looked back at everyone. This isn't right. I swear I saw her. We were walking here hand in hand. It wasn't Sarah.
そうなんですか、松永さん。私は誰も見なかったよ。いきなり少年が私の手を掴んで。
What? Sarah, why are you lying?
はい？嘘ついてるのはそっちじゃん。何言っちゃってるわけ？
What? The girl was in the well room. She was sitting down, hugging her knees. She was singing some kind of phrases to a kid's song.
だから、それは私です。
Sarah was red-faced and
そん
shouting.
な恥ずかしいことここで暴露しなくてもいいでしょ。
Jeez, what's with her? What's going on here? You groaned as she slapped her forehead with her
そう
hand.
ね。他のことは何も心配しなくていいからもう少し休んできたら。晩ご飯だったら後で持ってってあげるから。本当にどうしちゃったのかねこの子は。
I thought about a lot of things as I plodded to the infirmary. Things leading to that point. Things to come. The odd things that are going on. Things I couldn't figure out. Things I needed to find out. Things I needed to decide. There are a lot of them right there. Everything I'd just been trying to avoid thinking about all rushed into my mind at once, making it a confused mess. I couldn't help thinking and worrying about things. About you. What if the man who had died 34 years before wasn't Yu's father? And who was a real father? Was the woman that died 15 years before really Yu's mother? If not, then who was? About me. Why did I keep having premonitions of the future? What did it mean? Who was the girl? Why had I mistaken Sarah for her? Why had I even lost my memory in the first place? What had happened to me in my past? Why did Sugumi know about all of this? And why were we all trapped in LeMU? Was it just an accident or something else? A few hours later, the installation started to flood again. Trite stopped. From the partition to the cosmic well was submerged. I remember that happening last time. I think that's where they just were. Casualties, none. Flooding to other rooms, none. Chance of damage spreading, none. Zora's voice conveyed the situation over the intercom in a matter-of-fact tone. The cosmic well room. I had been there until just shortly before the flooding. But somehow it felt like some event that had taken place thousands of miles away. As I was saying earlier, it's fun to walk around places that can be flooded at a moment's notice and you can die. I guess he needs to be happy that something made him leave. Nah, that ain't it. I doubt. I covered my head with the blanket, closed my eyes, and tried to sleep. I tried to search for the world I should be in, for the place I should return to, and for myself. Premonition? I know they didn't just skip 3 days. The next thing I knew, I was standing there. The corridor I was in wasn't very popular. I'm sure that's not the word they meant. You know, I'm very sure, you know, that's... I mean, I know that there's a, you know, a lot of pressure on corridors to be in the cool group, you know, cool crowd. They have their, you know, they have their crowds, and there's I'm going to drop that line of joke there because I can't come up with it. It was completely silent. It was narrow, dark, and cold. Where is this? I wondered if I really was in LeMU. Nothing looked familiar. It was like an unknown world. I just stood there in the middle of the foreign corridor. I think I'm understanding what made him break down, though, with the chicken sandwich thing, though. Although he wasn't doing this last time. But maybe that whatever it was had an effect. I knew that space. For some reason it seemed familiar to me. Like an image that appears and hides in the mist. not quite visible, or like the moon peeking in between gaps in the thick night fog. It was a corridor that stretched on straight forward. It seemed to go on forever in both directions. I started walking without really thinking about it. I've been here before. But when could that have been? It felt like something long ago, but at the same time, like something recent. I couldn't remember when. Just kept walking to nowhere in particular. I have to go. Or was it that I felt I had to go? I didn't know why, but I felt like I had to go. That's why I'm walking. In a soundless world. A colorless world. A scentless world. A world that didn't exist anywhere. And then the scenery suddenly changed. I found myself in a big room. It was big and wide and quiet. This looks like a hospital. That was what I thought. In the corner of the room, in a corner of the room were 3 capsule-like machines. As if they were calling out to me, I approached the capsules. Someone was in the capsules. Someone was in there sleeping. Reached out my right hand toward the capsule. My hand made contact. In that instant, without a sound, the lights went off. Huh? Startled, I tried to jump backward, but my right hand was stuck to the capsule and I couldn't pull it back. I looked back at the capsule. From the point where my hand was touching the capsule's lid, a blackish, sticky liquid began seeping out. It was more dark blue than black. The capsule continued to ooze, blackish blue and deep blue. I didn't know and couldn't imagine what was going on. That's right, someone's inside. I have to open this and save them. But my body wouldn't move and it felt paralyzed. I stopped breathing and could only watch what was unfolding. Finally, that sticky blue liquid covered the entire capsule. But it didn't stop there, it kept going. To the floor, the walls, the ceiling, as if it would swallow the whole room. It was like a living animal with a will of its own, reproducing itself. The sticky blue liquid began to crawl up my body, up my legs and my hands, inside my clothes and between my legs. I couldn't shake it off or scream, I could only watch. After covering my body, it forced open my mouth and started into my body. That's got to be a comfortable feeling. It invaded me through my ears, nose, and the pores of my skin, as if that needed to be any more graphic. Awesome. Is it also going to say that it like pries up underneath your fingernails and just jabs in there? Yeah. In my body, the blue traveled around, reaching my brain, my lungs, and my heart. It began eating away at my brain, my organs, and blood vessels. Wow. The blue liquid sucked my blood and started changing its color to black. I understand why they write it like this, but I like how from a first-person point of view, that if this was happening to me, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I know my blood is turning black. There's no way to know that. I mean, it's good writing, you know, but it's very weird that while it was happening, they would convey the character thinking this. I was changing into something that wasn't me. Ah! I guess it's kind of a scream of... Actually, maybe it's more a scream of pain. That was kind of a scream of fake terror, I suppose. Assaulted by boundless fear and horrible despair, how would a soundless scream? My eyes snapped open. The next thing I knew, I was on a bed. It smelled of disinfectant. I wondered where I was. I was drenched in sweat. My heart was pounding. I had a dull headache. I lifted up my torso and glanced around me. The room was dim, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. It was scenery that I knew. Oh yeah, I'm back in the infirmary. I finally realized I had just been having a dream. Quite a dream. I got my breath back and thought back to my dream. Let's see. What had seemed so vivid only moments ago seemed to vanish from my mind like clouds covering the night sky. I hate that. I have some of the weirdest dreams, and I can't remember them after a minute. I guess that's normal. But I remember reading something back in not reading a teacher back in English class. Uh, Lord Byron, I think maybe was the guy. Somebody. Anyway, there was a guy who, whenever he dreamed, he'd keep a book right next to his bed, and as soon as he woke up, he'd write his dream down before he forgot it. I don't think I could hold it long enough to do that. But yeah, I hate that. It's a very weird thing. I guess it's kind of your body's way of saying, forget about it. It's not important. That ain't real. This is real. All that was left was an unknown fear, a slight headache, and a fragment of a dream. I gave up and looked around me. The area was enveloped in a faint darkness. It wasn't a blackout. The lights had been dimmed to make it easier to sleep. The proof seemed to be in the breathing that I could hear coming from the bed next to me. I thought it might be Sarah. Now wide awake, I got out of bed. I suddenly noticed something. There was someone laying face down next to my bed asleep. I squinted to see who it might be. It was you. I thought that she was going to be sore for sure after sleeping in that position. To at least keep her from catching a cold, I went to cover her with a blanket. Just then, oh, did I wake you up?
寝るつもりなかったんだけど、ついうとうとしちゃったみたい。ちょっと。
You shouted as she stood up.
具合の方は
Feel perfectly fine.
そんなわけないでしょ。頻繁に幻聴聞いたり、幻覚見たり、絶対に精神が参ってる証拠だよ。このところ、毎晩私に付き合わせてるからね。これでも責任感じてるんだぞ。
It's not your fault.
だとしたら、ちょっとは気が楽になるんだけどね。
Saying that, you shrugged your shoulders. I'm done with the bed, so you can sleep here, you.
君は
I slept enough this afternoon. I'm not tired.
そう。
You thought for a minute.
だったら、今夜も付き合わない？
Sure. So we decided to hang out again that night. In what seemed to be becoming a nightly ritual. The Lemurian ruins. We climbed on top of the roof of one of the buildings and gazed out over the scenery. I actually didn't know why we had decided to climb up on that particular night. But if I were to take a stab at the reason, it's probably because Lemuria was so beautiful then. For a while the two of us were silent, just enjoying the view. Finally I started the conversation. Let's get to the bottom of things.
決着って？
Let's get to the truth about your past. About your father and mother. That and the truth about my past. About my lost memories and my ability to see the future. That and one more thing, the truth about all of our pasts. And why this accident happened. Why were we the only ones trapped there? Why couldn't we get out? I'm tired of dwelling on this. Thank you, kid. Please find out answers to this crap. I mean it. Let's really figure things out tonight.
さ、少年。
You stared into the distance.
悪いんだけど、そういった話は今日はやめよう。
Huh? What?
なんだか疲れちゃった。だから今日はそういうつもりでここへ誘ったんじゃないの。
I wondered why we had come here.
どうして人は過去にこだわったりするんだろう。
Actually, probably seems like a natural reaction, to not knowing his past. His past would be in other people's past, suppose is probably why.
過ぎてしまったことなんて取り返すことはできないのに、私たちはただ目の前を通り過ぎていく瞬間瞬間の中でしか生きることはできない。過去にも未来にも飛んでいくことはできない。未来は確かにやってくるけれど、その瞬間が訪れるまで未来はただの暗闇、何も見えない。1分後何が起こるのかさえわからない。未来が怖くて、だから人は振り返る。振り返って過去を見ると、そこには光が照らされている。でもね、過去だって同じこと。遠のけば遠のくほど闇の中に紛れて見えなくなってしまう。
To me, it seemed to lose your memory, like I. To me, it seemed to lose your memory, like I had. Made everything pitch black. No, rather things became nothing.
私たちが知ることのできる領域なんてほんの些細なものなのよ。特に時の流れに対しては盲目に等しい。だから私は今この瞬間だけを大切にしようと思う。過去や未来のことなんてもうどうでもよくなっちゃったんだ。
I was left speechless. There was nothing I could be expected to say, because she was no longer focused on reflecting on her past. She was different from me. I alone was intent on knowing everything. I believed that I had to know it, or else. But you wasn't like that. The dragon had left the damsel free. There was no longer any need to vanquish it. I didn't know how much time had passed. There was nothing for us to do, so we just gave ourselves to the slowly passing time, even though there was no meaning in it. Didn't feel there was any reason for being there. I've had enough of this. I stood up quickly. So, she'll get some sleep? What? What's wrong?
もうちょっとだけ一緒にいたいかも。
But... I suppose if this was another type of game, that would probably be another response to that question. But I suppose this is as good a cutoff point as any. Did it just a little bit longer this time around, and I think I'm going to do the next couple like that to kind of make up for missing one day. this game continues to be interesting. It's very fascinating how, by not answering questions, it makes you very much more interested in it. I guess it's natural, but it's weird that it's not frustrating, you know. I guess it might frustrate people and just make them quit, but anyway, I do hope you folks enjoyed, and I shall return for the next one. Farewell.